Hello. Thank you for watching Taxpayer Alert. I'm Al Segalla. I'll be your moderator. I'm also president of the Calaveras County Taxpayers Association, and we are interested in taxes. And this program is going to be an exciting one because we're talking about solving a lot of problems in California. Our guest is Teresa McBride, who's our county senator on the state of New California. Teresa.
Hi. First off, I have
Welcome.
to say I go by Terry. I just prefer it. Usually if someone calls me Teresa, I want to run in the other direction because I'm usually in trouble, right? So I like Terry. I prefer that. Thank
Okay.
you, Al.
Terry, how'd you get involved with this?
Well, I think like most people, I saw that things weren't right in what was happening in California. The regulations, the high costs, the taxes, people moving out in droves. I mean, I heard that U-Haul was running out of one-way vehicles, and I wanted to see about a change. And you know, many of us have this thing of, well, somebody else will fix it. Well, to someone else, you are the someone else. So we all have to step up. I heard about New California, and I was able to go to a couple of their meetings. I liked what they had to say. And then a couple of 2.5 years or so ago, they reached out and were looking for more participants, and I signed up, and I'm now the Calaveras County Committee Chair, as well as our senator for this county.
I see. So even though the New California is not yet established,
Right.
you're actually going to work anyway, having meetings with people and to develop a plan for solving some of the problems that we have.
We are. One of the, what we are, we do have a legislature. We have, for each county has a senator, and each county has 2 assembly members. And we have 2 assembly members in our county. And once a week, we senators, all of us senators meet. We work on passing resolutions, and the resolutions are what will be bills. And the resolutions are powerful, and I think everybody would love them. And many of them can be seen on our website. It's all transparent. And then we have multiple meetings every week on the way forward as we're moving towards our final goal. Our 10th convention, in fact, is in June. It'll be our last one.
What is the website?
Oh, the website for New California is newcaliforniastate.com, and then we even came up with another one, ncs51.com. Both of them are filled with lots of historical facts, an understanding of how and why this will work, and well worth anybody's time. And then if I may comment also, on those websites you'll see that every Sunday and Wednesday evening we have a public conference call. You can do it via Zoom, you can do it on Twitch, or just call in. The best thing about these is we have Chris Street, who is a world-renowned economist. He's our vice president. He's also got a handle on the true economy of California, none of which is good. And he has an exceptionally good handle also on the world economy and a lot of the political stuff. So you get an opportunity to listen firsthand to his report twice a week. Twice a week you get to do that. And then to Paul Preston, who's the president of our movement. And then you get to ask questions. And nobody is denied an opportunity to ask a question. They welcome them. And so that's every Sunday and Wednesday evening.
That's very good. Now I understand we also have another movement called State of Jefferson.
Right. State of Jefferson has been in a process for quite a long time. I am not involved with them. I did donate to them. I liked what they were doing. They have gone a different route than we did. I think we all have the same mindset. We want the same end results. They're all good people. They have good hearts, just like we do. But they went the judicial route. Well, justice has no say. The Constitution gives us, we the people, the right to negotiate with the legislature, not the governor or anybody else, but with the legislature to separate from that state and remain within the United States of America.
So it's possible that we would have 2 states existing at one time.
Right, it's 51. We'll be the 51st state.
Okay.
And there are other states that are looking to do the exact same thing.
All right. it seemed like that would be difficult to manage because you'd have two different legislatures, two different
But
governors.
we're two different, entirely different entities.
Yeah,
So that would be no different than Nevada being a different state than Oregon. We'll have our own senators for the DC. We'll have our own representatives for DC. So it's literally two separate states. So the laws we have will not be the laws that California has. We won't have the same regulations unless they make good sense. They have a reason for being.
okay. So in the land of California, there'll be two governments?
Yep, two states.
Okay. And each of these states would control
Their own land. And the people, I shouldn't say the people, they have over their own land. So that's the rural areas, okay? The urban areas would be old California.
Okay, all right, so they wouldn't each exist within a particular county.
Right.
The county itself will either belong to
New California or Old California.
New County, oh, okay, that makes sense.
And then one thing that helps put it into context is that it basically splits the population in half.
Yeah,
And half the population lives in the cities, and then the other half lives spread out the rural areas of California.
and the rural areas are the ones that are most inclined to believe in limited government,
Right.
constitutional government,
Right.
and freedom,
Right.
where the urban areas like more socialism.
They are. They tend to lean that way, and God bless them. That's their choice.
Yeah,
But a lot of the regulations that are put out are based on that.
yeah,
And we tend to be a lot more independent-minded, a lot more,
Right.
I'll take care of myself, thank you very much. I don't need the government taking care of me in that. And that's fine if the others want to live that way, but that's not how the majority of rural people want to live. Also, we'd like to see taxes come down to something a little bit more normal and average. We'd also like to see the money being more reasonably spent and an accounting. Do you know that California is in a lot of trouble in the way of finances, and they've got billions, many billions of dollars that are missing that they cannot account for.
right.
I mean, a huge amount. So we don't want that. We want accountability. That's our tax dollars. It's the money that came out of our pocket.
So they could only impose this mismanagement on those counties which they control.
Yep.
Okay. Well, looks like we've got some good news.
Well, here's something else that I find quite exciting, and that is that the counties will have sovereignty again. That's the way it's supposed to be. And so the government comes back down to the people. And so instead of the Board of Supervisors being worried about what the state is telling them, they need to think about what are our constituents asking for?
Right.
What is it that our constituents are looking for? The local school boards are not going to worry about what the state tells them to do. They're not going to worry about what the federal government's going to tell them what to do. They're going to listen to what their parents are telling them to do. In New California, the parent has the ultimate authority,
Yeah.
period. And we've been helping one of our local school boards. We've actually had 3 people step down. We've been helping the parents of that school district stand their ground. They are not terrorists. They're parents that love their children and want what's best for them. And so we have been helping them any way that we can to right this failing ship called the public school system. And then many of these parents are finding out the many great alternatives that are out there for the school as far as getting a phenomenal education for your children and having a lot more say as to what they're educated on and how they're being educated. So we're helping with that too.
That means that school choice can become a reality
Yes.
in the Jefferson states. I mean, not Jefferson.
New California.
in New
And we're
California
also
state.
very strong behind the money follows the child. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one of the things that what's our present status?
Okay, so New California has come a long way. We declared our statement of independence back in January 2018, I believe. And at this point in time, our 10th convention is in June. That'll be our last convention. We anticipate will be New California by the end of this year. I mean, so we've come a long way. We're doing it the correct way. We're following the guidelines that were given to us. Some of this was that we grieved. We did, our First Amendment allows for the grievance against our government. And we've done 190 grievances. I did them up here at the courthouse most of the time in San Andres. And so those were done throughout California. And then we've already opened negotiations with the legislature. Things are changing all the time with this crazy world we're living in right now.
Yeah,
So,
true.
holy cow. But I think that we would bring stability. New California will bring in a great deal of stability, but also it's letting the people be back in control. What I've had to do these past couple of years is really bone up on our Constitution and everything that has made this country great. And we forget what our rights are.
Yeah.
And what's happened over the last few years has really shown how much people have forgotten what their rights are. And we have powerful rights. And the First Amendment and the right to choose your faith or whatever, and nobody can stop you from practicing that was big quashed these past couple of years. All of them within the First Amendment were. But probably my favorite is the Ninth Amendment. The Ninth Amendment says that anything that has not been enumerated here, that's up to the citizen to decide. People don't even know about it. And so this is very important that we believe in our Constitution and we want it to stand strong. And that's what makes our country great.
Yeah, I think the 10th Amendment reinforces that as well.
Well, the 10th Amendment does, but it's that the state holds its power. But do you know that during the time of, who was the actor? Not Reagan. Schwarzenegger gave up California's 10th Amendment right to determine the schooling of the children so that they could get funding. It almost always involves money. Right? And so, but we're not under that. So there again, we have the power to decide what do you want for your child? What kind of education? Do you want them to go to college or do you want them to go to tech school? Really, in the end, it's up to the parents and what's their best choice.
Right.
So we will be allowing them to be able to do that.
That is very refreshing.
It's needed, too.
Now, one of the things you've been working on is an audit
Yes.
in all the counties.
Yes, I'm
Now,
very proud of this.
That's a big job.
This is. Well, we found out a couple of years ago, or just, 2021, that every single ballot pretty much, not completely, but pretty much was incorrect in the state of California, that they did not put in the right language, which should right there render them null and void, because it states in our Constitution of California that they can't be wrong. They have to be correct. That didn't go very far because, again, we've got the court system that we have, unfortunately. And but now we do have the algorithms that show that, in fact, the numbers are incorrect that were given. Now, this is nothing against any of the registrars of voters. A lot of this stuff, because of the way that the elections were done, could have been done behind their back with no knowledge to them. And so I would assume the vast majority of them think everything they did was absolutely correct. I mean, they take that position because they believe in this country, don't you think? They believe in our election process. So anyway, what we're doing with this is they've all been served notice this past week, this week, and by next week that'll be the last of them, that they are to hold on to any and all information, anything that has to do with the elections of 2020 and anything since then. That would include the recall election.
Right.
And then we will have a forensic audit, and we are leading the way with that. And we're following what the law allows us to do and working within the system correctly.
Okay, if this investigation or research shows that the election was not proper, does that invalidate the results of that election?
Apparently so, and apparently, now this is not my wheelhouse, but it's my understanding that what it would mean is that it withdraws the 55 electoral college, and then we'd have a new election. They'd all have to come home, and I believe it's 60 days from the time, I'm not sure on the exact timing, but they have like 60 days, and then we do a proper election, I would hope, with paper ballots and formal ID, because you need an ID for everything else, for goodness sakes. And then we have we know the real results.
Yeah. So on the recall election, if the recall election was found to be flawed, then we would have another recall
I
election?
would think.
Huh,
There's hope, huh?
that's interesting. You gotta have a sense of humor
Right,
nowadays.
nowadays you have to, my goodness sakes.
Okay, now, you've had 40 hearings?
Right, we do.
About schools and lockdowns and...
Right.
and
So we
such.
do some citizens committee hearings. We've done them throughout the state. I've been in, 4 or 5 of them. I've had one here in San Andres. So what the citizens committee hearings do is allows our assembly, our legislative members to listen to the constituents. And the first few that we had was the fallout of the mandates, all of which were unconstitutional. And the simple fact that it's unconstitutional means you don't have to follow them. But a lot of people did because they didn't know any better, and they used this amazing thing called fear. And when you use fear, you're going to follow what those that you perceive to have more knowledge than you do tell you to do. So anyway, we heard, really heartbreaking, heart-wrenching stories of what these mandates did. And I want people to understand how many elderly folks died alone in the nursing homes without their family there beside them. I find that horrific. I find it, frankly, elder abuse. And, or I had one gal that could talk to her aunt on the other side of a glass wall who really just wanted to feel her niece's hand on her hand and probably her kiss on her forehead, right? But instead it was at a distance with a glass wall. They did this to these people. They kept these families apart, and I think it's horrific what they did. It breaks my heart over all that I hear. I think that is so awful that an elderly person died without their loved one beside them when they could have been. And it's a horrific thing. And it happened in our country, and especially in our state. Happened a lot in our state. That people went into the hospital and were not allowed to be attended to by their family members. Your family member is your advocate. I don't care how good the hospital is. Your advocate is your spouse or your children. So anyway, we heard a lot of stories from people. That gave us some direction. We write resolutions. Those will become bills. Again, please look at our website. I think you'll like what you see. We're writing a lot of them right now. Very powerful. I'm proud to say Calaveras County is well represented on these resolutions. And then because of what was happening in the schools, Paul Preston is 40 years experience in the school system, and he ended it as a superintendent. And he has been just mortified. But what we are hearing, what's happening to these youngsters, and then teachers that choose to stand their ground and stand their constitutional rights, what's been happening to them. So we started opening this up for parents so that they could say what they have to say and then start finding out what are the alternatives. So we did have one here in San Andres. I have another one on April 24 at the Old Murphy's Schoolhouse. So that parents and children, we've been hearing some children really speak up. It's been beautiful. They're understanding what their constitutional rights are. And then what are your alternatives? The public school is not the only alternative, and homeschooling is not even the only other alternative. There are quite a few alternatives out there for parents.
Yeah, I understand that they have some public schools that are called charter schools.
Right.
That are more closely controlled by the parents.
Parents have a bit more control, but oftentimes if it's a public school, it's under the state. So if the state says we'll give you money or we won't give you money.
Will the new state have a school bureaucracy?
We have the education committee. I sit on it. I'm not quite sure how we're going to set up the school system because I've not had school teaching background, that type of thing. But between Paul, and we have quite a few, frankly, within our system that are retired school teachers that saw what was coming down the pike, and it's like, well, this is just awful. And what they want are these youngsters to learn quality skills.
Right.
Life skills are important. We're not teaching them life skills much anymore, are we?
No.
And how to think for yourself. That's probably one of the most important things, is to question. We have forgotten to teach, or maybe by choice, have forgotten it, or don't teach children how to question the narrative that they're being fed. I used to teach, And it wasn't in school. And one of my former students, a wonderful young man, and I saw his dad, and I said, how's he doing in high school? He goes, well, he keeps getting in trouble. And I go, why? And he goes, because he questions authority. I said, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying why? What's wrong with, give me a reasonable reason why you're asking me to do what it is that you're asking me to do? What's wrong with that? And Americans have forgotten how to ask.
Yeah, of course, the most powerful thing that we can have is communication skills.
Right, and we forgot, yes, see, those things, all of this has been removed. So yes, this is going to come back for parents. I think they're going to feel really good about what's going to be offered to their children.
This is really interesting. Now the website is
newcaliforniastate.com, and then our second one is NCS51.
Don't give them the second one, because then they forget the first one.
Oh, okay, newcaliforniastate.com.
Okay, did you get your pencil and write that down? Good, because there's a lot of information for you. Now, we have over 5 minutes remaining on this program.
Okay.
And so there's been 40 hearings?
We've done 40 hearings.
And during these 40 hearings, what has developed from that?
Well, from that we get our ideas for the resolutions that we want to prevent what happened to happen again. I think, too, it's very cathartic for those that feel like their voice hasn't been heard. California hasn't gone out and talked to folks. I went in front of our local our local board of supervisors and told them that we'd had this hearing. I said, why aren't you going out and talking to your people and finding out what all of these choices that you're making that are shutting down these businesses? I was at one of the meetings, and the director of health was so happy because the business could stay open at 25%. I don't know, Al, how many businesses do you know that remain open at 25%? Government does, but the state, a little business doesn't.
Well, if the business can force people to buy their products, if they don't buy the products, they go to jail, well, then maybe they can do it. But then again, that wouldn't be a private business, would it?
Right. Right. So we haven't seen any anything from our state government where they've actually reached out or understood the pains that they have caused the local people. And what you have here, and this is something that really makes me happy, because I remember one of the meetings that I had started, someone says, well, how do we know that our representatives aren't going to become crooked or whatever? And I said, well, they're your neighbors, you know. They're in your county. You're going to see me at the county fair. You're going to see me at the grocery stores, the local ones, and the gas station, and then whoever takes my place down the line. You're going to see them. We'll see you on a regular basis. We just did Dandelion Days over there in Jackson, and I signed up for next year because I want to see our local representatives for New California at Dandelion Days. I want to see them at the local fairs. I want to see that people can come up and shake your hand and talk to you. When I'm at these events, I go around and talk to them, and I say, what did this do to your local business? And I'm telling you, you hear harrowing stories. People are just hanging on by their fingernails, just hoping they can make it. And so I really want to see the interaction within the local representation of your state government of New California, really interacting with the people so the people know that, hey, we've got somebody that's got our ear, or we've got their ear.
Well, the new California state has a legislature. Who is the legislature members in Calaveras County?
Calaveras County has myself, Terry McBride. I am 5th generation of this county too. So I can assure you that what I do would be what is the best for this county. I love this place. My blood, my roots run very deep in this county. I'm right out of Calaveras. And then we have Tim Mormon out of Valley Springs and Debbie Rojas out of Valley Springs. Super nice people, patriots. And our new, I'm very proud of this, is New California the Patriot State. So these are patriots that love the Constitution, they love humanity, they love people, they love God, we love God. We don't expect everyone to, but we want them to respect our right to love God in the way that works best for us, right? We love our country, and we love our Constitution.
Now, are the the legislatures also holding hearings like you are?
Yeah, well, they'll be all a part of it. They'll be, so you'll have assembly and senators at the at the citizen committee hearings.
Right.
And then in this particular case, I've invited a couple of folks that are running for the school board to come and listen so the parents can see that school board members actually have the potential to listen and stand up for the children. Because that's what we need. They didn't stand up for the kids.
All right.
You know, have you heard of, I didn't mention this earlier, I'll do it really fast. It's called The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrate. I want everyone to get the book, The Doctrine of the Lesser Magistrate. It's on Amazon. You can reach out to him. I have a case of them, actually. I'll have them at the fair. I'll just sell them at my cost. And it talks about how even the dog catcher has the right to say, this law that they passed is unconstitutional and I will not allow for it. The school board and the board of supervisors had the power at all times to say, no, this is unconstitutional. I will not allow this to happen under my watch. And so the power of the lesser doctrine magistrate will very much be part of New California State. We want local government.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, can you say that slowly?
The power of the lesser, L-E-S-S-E-R, magistrate doctrine. Or it's the doctrine of the lesser magistrate. I don't have a book. I want to say it's Tim T. Willie. It's a name like that, but it's on Amazon. And he's a phenomenal man. And this goes back into hundreds and hundreds of years. It's the beginning of what started the Magna Carta.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when our taxpayers go to the website, which is
NewCaliforniaState.com.
NewCaliforniaState.com, they might be able to see that book there. Is that right?
No, it's not. I don't know if Paul has it there. I'll tell him to put it up because he should. And then also, if you feel inclined, everyone, consider donating. The legal stuff with forcing a forensic audit is going to cost money, so please consider it. And all of us on this, we all give up our time and our money. Not anybody is paid, and not even the president of the organization. None of us. We do it all because we know it's the right thing to do.
Right. So you'll leave this world a better place.
That's what That's what we're supposed to do,
yeah.
Right?
Okay. So what's next? California is in default of the U.S. Constitution.
Right, so we've just claimed California in default of the U.S. Constitution because they are Article 4, Section 4, and Article 6. And many other things. So we have been we're so used to it. And I would really suggest to people to go back and read the U.S. Declaration of Independence and where it speaks of, great men wrote that. And also women were involved. And they speak of, after a point in time, people get so used to the abuse that they just take it. And they forget what true freedom is. And This is what's happened to our country, that we have forgotten what our freedoms are. And if you really want to learn about them, listen to Sheriff Mack of the Sheriffs and CSPOA, the Constitutional Sheriffs and Police Officers Association.
John Mack.
John Mack, Sheriff Mack. We just saw him a couple of weeks ago. And then Chris Ann Hall is a constitutional lawyer, and they will fully inform you of what your rights are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al,
Delightful.
so much. It was great
Thank
visiting.
you for watching Taxpayer Alert. See you next time.